Not all of us have been destroyed by your system. Not all of us fail so easily. Some of us are not immune, but are resistant to you.
But we're not done with the Ron Paul, Rand Paul revolution of liberty. There's more. We've already aired this week the full speech of Ron Paul talking about false flag terror. Here is some of the man on the street from that rally. We now have the official number, 6,000 plus people.
Richard Reeves here reporting for Infowars.com. It is April 26th of 2012. We are on the grounds of the LBJ Presidential Library at the lawn on the west side of the venue. We're about to have Ron Paul speak here at 7 p.m. We already have a large crowd. We've got about 30 minutes before the event. There are probably at least over 1,000 people here ready to see Ron Paul. They've really come prepared with their signs, their shirts, their buttons, and it looks like it will be an awesome speaking engagement here in Austin, Texas coming up.
I see a lot of people I saw last time around. I see a lot of new people, and I'm encouraged by that. I'm not going to, sit here and pretend like the establishment doesn't have a few things up their sleeve when it comes to, rigging the election, I'll allege. But it's still optimistic. It still feels good to try and to do the right thing, even if you know that everything's stacked against you.
What we have to think about is restoration of personal responsibility and personal decision making, and that's what freedom is all about.
It's really sad that we've got the answer right here, but we just can't have it because we can't let Ron Paul be president because he's crazy. But as soon as the election's over, we'll have him on Fox and CNN every 20 minutes on every financial show to explain to us why we're in this pickle that we're in. But every time there's an election cycle around, he's crazy again. So that's one of the many things that I think about how Ron Paul's been treated in the past 8 years.
Our government and our Congresses are so willing to give up our liberties for our security. I have a personal belief that you never have to give up liberty for security. You can still provide security without sacrificing our Bill of Rights.
Despite the fact that a lot of people say the race for the nomination for the Republican Party is over, do you believe that? What do you think about that?
I don't believe it for a second. If you look at the delegate count, and they haven't even counted California or Texas yet, it looked like Texas was going to go to Santorum, and now he's out. So Texas will most likely go to Ron Paul, and California is 80%, with their Republican Party, 80% for Ron Paul.
And so he's only 2 states away from getting the minimum 5 states to be part of the nomination at the very beginning. Do you think he'll get the 5 states?
I do, and I think for those in the know, we see that he's going to take it. We're at a critical point right now. If we don't vote for him, we are in trouble. It's Goldman Sachs or Goldman Sachs.
Well, it's really encouraging to see all these people out here today. I'm hoping that we're going to hit like 8,000 or something. That's maybe a little unrealistic, but that's just to compete with UCLA. The next step is the media is finally responding to us. This year we had Freedom Watch on TV, and obviously it was just because they were making money off of it, because it definitely didn't push their agenda. And, I just saw Ron Paul for an hour on CNBC knocking down Keynesian economists all day long. So hopefully we'll see more of that. They're going to see these numbers and they just see dollar signs, and even if they don't agree with us, that at least works.
Washington is always the last ones to wake up. Where I go, we get the large crowds, and they're very concerned, of course, about the attack on personal liberties. If you mention just the National Defense Authorization Act, most people know exactly what I'm talking about.
There's no doubt that Ron Paul's backup plan, if he doesn't take the presidency, is to continue his recruiting of all of the young people over to his message. It's selling, and he says liberty is popular. And he knows that whether it's through the Mises Institute or going out and just touring the country, he's going to keep bringing people to the message.
Well, and a lot of folks would say right now, as of April 26, 2012, that the presidential nomination for the Republican Party is over. But I think this crowd here proves that there's still enthusiasm for Ron Paul, and it's ironic. It seems like there's very little enthusiasm for any of the so-called establishment candidates. What do you think about that?
I think if your candidate was Rick Perry and then maybe Rick Santorum and Herb and Cain and then finally Mitt Romney, you probably need to not participate in voting.
The very people who tell us that we're the isolationists are the ones who are always looking around for another enemy to slay and put on sanctions and start another war. They're the ones who don't want to trade with Cuba. We're the ones that think that it's time to engage in the world and to talk to people and trade with people. So they will try to paint us as uncaring. But let me tell you, people who care will care about liberty. And this will never translate into an absolute majority, but I'm certain that our numbers are growing by leaps and bounds. These prairie fires of freedom are being spread, and there's nothing but good news out there, precariously so, because we don't know exactly. We may have something happen. There may be a false flag incident where some ship goes down and you be used for the excuse to accelerate the next war. And we have to learn to distinguish war propaganda from the truth.
Dr. Paul, today's headline story on Infowars.com is about how the government is planning to secretly evacuate Chicago during the upcoming NATO summit in May. Do you have any comments about that?
I haven't seen that, but I don't know exactly what's behind all that. But those kind of statements concern me.
Could there be potentially another false flag event?
I'm always worried about false flags.
We got to get going, sir.
Paul, you're a hero! 1776.